October 14th, 1943, 291 American bombers fly toward Germany. By the end of the day, 60 of them won't come home. Another 138 will return, so damaged they'll never fly again. The mission is called Black Thursday, and it nearly ends the American daylight bombing campaign forever. But out of this disaster comes one of the most brilliant tactical innovations in aviation history, a formation so deadly that it turns individual bombers into a single, unstoppable fortress. This is the story of the combat box, and how American bomber crews learned something the hard way. In the sky over Germany, flying alone means dying alone. Let's go back. 1942. America has just entered World War II, and the Army Air Forces have a problem, a big one. They need to bomb Germany, deep inside enemy territory, factories, refineries, rail yards, but there's a catch. German fighter planes own the sky. Messerschmitt Bf-109s, Focke-Wulf 190s, fast, agile, lethal. And American bombers? They're slow, they're heavy, they're basically flying in a straight line, begging to be shot down. So the Air Force comes up with a solution. The B-17 Flying Fortress. It's called a fortress for a reason. 13 50 caliber machine guns, guns in the nose, the tail, the belly, the sides, the top, guns everywhere. The idea is simple. Make the bomber so heavily armed that fighters won't dare attack it. Sounds good on paper, but there's a problem no one anticipated. One B-17 has 13 guns, but a Messerschmitt can attack from any angle, and 13 guns can't cover every angle at once. There are blind spots, gaps in the coverage, and German pilots, they figure this out fast. Early 1943, American bomber groups start flying missions over occupied Europe. The losses are devastating. Missions where 10% of the bombers don't return, 15%, sometimes 20%. Think about that. You're a 20-year-old kid from Iowa. You climb into your bomber, you look around at the other planes, and you know statistically 2 out of every 10 planes around you won't be coming back. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's the crew you had breakfast with, but someone's not coming home. The early formations are simple. Bombers fly in straight lines, V formations, like geese migrating south. It looks neat, it looks organized, but it's a death sentence. Here's why. When you fly in a straight line, German fighters can attack from the sides, from below, from above. And the bombers in the middle of the formation? They can't shoot back without hitting their own planes. The outer bombers are exposed. The inner bombers are useless. It's the worst of both worlds. German pilots developed tactics specifically to exploit this. They call it the head-on attack. Instead of attacking from behind, where the tail gunner can shoot them, they come straight at the nose, at 400 miles per hour combined closing speed. The nose of a B-17 has fewer guns, less firepower. It's a weak point, and the Germans know it. They fly straight at the cockpit, fire their cannons, then roll away at the last second. Bomber crews call them 12 o'clock high attacks. And they're terrifying. You see a tiny dot in the distance, then it's getting bigger. bigger, coming right at your face. You have maybe 3 seconds to shoot back. Then it's gone. And either you're still alive or you're not. By mid-1943, the 8th Air Force is losing bombers faster than they can replace them. Commanders start asking questions. Why are we losing so many planes? The B-17 is supposed to be a fortress, so why are they getting shot down like target practice? And that's when someone realizes something important. The B-17 isn't the problem. The formation is. See, each B-17 has 13 guns, but they're designed to cover different angles. The top turret covers above. The ball turret covers below. The waist gunners cover the sides. The tail gunner covers the rear. If you're alone, you can't cover everything. But if you're in a group and you position the planes correctly, the guns from one bomber can cover the blind spots of another. It's not about individual planes, it's about overlapping fields of fire. The idea is brilliant, but implementing it? That's the hard part. You can't just tell pilots, fly close together. Flying in formation is difficult. These are 4-engine bombers. Each one weighs 65,000 pounds fully loaded. They're flying at 25,000 feet, in freezing temperatures, through clouds, through flak, through German fighters trying to kill them. And now you're asking them to fly 10 feet away from each other? For hours? One wrong move and 2 planes collide. Everyone dies. But there's no choice. The losses are unsustainable. Something has to change. Enter Colonel Curtis LeMay. He's 36 years old, aggressive, brilliant, ruthless. And he has an idea. LeMay studies the German attacks. He maps out exactly where the fighters are coming from, what angles they prefer, where the blind spots are, and he designs something new. He calls it the combat box. It's not a line, it's not a V, it's a 3-dimensional formation, a box in the sky. Here's how it works. You take 18 bombers, you arrange them in 3 groups of 6. The lead group flies in front, slightly higher. The high group flies behind and to the right, even higher. The low group flies behind and to the left, slightly lower. Now picture this from the side. It looks like a staggered staircase in the sky. From above, it looks like a box, but here's the genius part. Every single angle of attack is now covered by multiple guns. A German fighter comes from the front. The nose guns of all 18 bombers are pointing at him. From the side, the waist gunners from multiple planes converge their fire. From below, the ball turrets create a wall of bullets. From above, the top turrets have overlapping coverage. There is no safe angle. Anywhere a fighter approaches, he's flying into a storm of 50 caliber fire. It's not 18 individual planes anymore. It's one giant flying fortress with over 200 machine guns. And the psychological effect on German pilots? It's devastating. But LeMay doesn't stop there. He takes it further. He creates multiple combat boxes, and he stacks them. One box flies slightly higher, another slightly to the side, another slightly lower. Now you have 3 boxes, 54 bombers, all arranged so their fields of fire overlap. The Germans call it the combat wing. The Americans call it the bomber stream. But everyone calls it the same thing when they see it. Unstoppable. A German pilot looking at this formation sees a wall of planes, miles long, thousands of guns, and no matter which angle he attacks from, he's going to get shot at by dozens of bombers simultaneously. Some German pilots refuse to attack these formations. They wait for stragglers, damaged planes, anyone who falls out of formation. Because attacking the box itself, that's suicide. Now here's where it gets interesting. The combat box isn't just about firepower, it's about psychology. It changes the entire dynamic of the air war. Before the box, German fighters could pick off bombers one by one, hunt them, harass them, attack weak points. The American crews felt helpless, vulnerable. Now the Germans are the ones who were scared. They have to fly through a hurricane of bullets just to get one shot. And even if they survive the attack, they have to escape through the same storm. The bomber crews feel it too. They're still terrified, they're still getting shot at, but now they're not alone. They can see the other planes around them. They can see the tracers from friendly guns. They know that if a fighter comes after them, 10 other bombers will be shooting at that fighter too. It's still dangerous, but it's not hopeless. And that makes all the difference. October 14th, 1943, Black Thursday. The mission I made. It's just that the mission is so deep and so long that even the best formation can't stop determined fighters forever. But the Air Force learned something from Black Thursday. The combat box works. It just needs one more thing. Fighter escorts. 1944. The P-51 Mustang enters service. Long-range fighter escort. Now the bombers have protection all the way to the target and back. The combination is devastating. Combat box formations with Mustang escorts. The Luftwaffe can't handle it. By mid-1944, German fighter losses are unsustainable. They're losing experienced pilots faster than they can train new ones. The bombers keep coming, day after day, week after week, in their combat boxes, untouchable. The German war industry is being systematically destroyed, not because of one thing, but because of the combination. The B-17s, the combat box formation, the fighter escorts, the training, the determination. By 1945, the Luftwaffe is barely functional. The skies over Germany belong to the Allies, and the combat box formation is a major reason why. Here's what makes this story so powerful. The solution wasn't technology. It wasn't a new plane or a new weapon. It was tactics. It was someone looking at the problem differently. The B-17 was designed to be a flying fortress, but it couldn't be a fortress alone. It needed other fortresses around it, supporting it, protecting it, turning individual planes into something greater. The whole became stronger than the sum of its parts. And that's a lesson that goes way beyond aviation. In war, in business, in life, isolation is vulnerability. Connection is strength. The lone wolf dies. The pack survives. The American bomber crews learned this at 25,000 feet over Germany, flying through flak and fighters, watching their friends die. until someone figured out how to make them stronger together than they ever could be apart. The combat box wasn't just a formation, it was a philosophy. Stop trying to be invincible alone. Start being unstoppable together. And it worked. So the next time you hear about the B-17 Flying Fortress, remember this. It wasn't called a fortress because it was tough. It was called a fortress because it was designed to fight. But it couldn't fight alone. It needed other fortresses beside it, behind it, above it, below it, creating a wall of fire that no enemy could penetrate. That's the real lesson of the combat box. Strength doesn't come from isolation. It comes from connection. The bomber that tried to be a fortress alone died alone. But the bombers that flew together, in formation, supporting each other, protecting each other, they survived. They won. They made it home. And that made all the difference. Here's what haunts me about this story, though. The combat box saved thousands of lives, but it couldn't save everyone. There were still bombers that fell out of formation, engine failures, battle damage, wounded pilots struggling to keep up. And the moment a bomber fell behind, the moment it lost the protection of the box, German fighters swarmed it like wolves separating prey from the herd. The crews knew this. They watched it happen. They saw their friends drop back, saw the fighters close in, and there was nothing they could do. Stay in formation or die trying to help. That's the brutal mathematics of survival. The box protected the many by sacrificing the few. And every crew member understood that if their plane got hit, if they couldn't keep up, they were on their own. The box wouldn't wait. It couldn't wait. Think about the men who designed this formation, the commanders who ordered it. They knew they were making a choice. Save more lives overall by accepting that some lives couldn't be saved. It's the cold logic of war, the terrible calculus that turns human beings into statistics. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. We all live in boxes. Social boxes, professional boxes, ideological boxes. We fly in formation with people who think like us, look like us, believe what we believe. And we tell ourselves it's for protection, for strength, for survival. But what happens to the people who fall out? The ones who can't keep up with the group, the ones who question the formation. We leave them behind. Not because we're cruel, but because staying in formation feels safer than breaking away to help. The combat box proved that together we're stronger, but it also proved something darker. That strength through unity often means abandoning those who can't maintain the pace. The B-17 crews didn't have a choice. They were at war. Their survival depended on maintaining formation no matter what. But we're not at war. Not most of us, anyway. So why do we still fly like we are? Why do we still sacrifice the stragglers to protect the group? Maybe the real lesson of the combat box isn't just about the power of working together. Maybe it's about understanding the cost of that power and asking ourselves, when we're safe on the ground, whether we're willing to pay it.